Hello everybody, I'm Catriona Morten, I'm a sensory-motor psychotherapist, and today I'd like to talk to you about acceptance. It can be a very difficult thing when we're having problems or struggles with things to actually get to a place of acceptance. The reason acceptance is important is because if we're trying to change something, then we want to make progress. We want to loosen the grip on something, be able to do things differently. If we don't do it from a place of acceptance, then we're doing it from a place of trying to force it. So we're trying to fight with ourselves, correct things. Every time we notice something, don't do that, do something different. It's really hard work. And if the thing that we're doing, if that's part of a coping mechanism, an old behaviour that was necessary from growing up, for instance, then it's pretty ingrained in us. All our mannerisms and things that we do, they're there for a reason. We've picked them up along the way, either because they've been necessary or we've learnt them from other people. And it's just kind of gone in and stayed with us. If we're always fighting against that, these things that we do, that we've carried forward from our past, they're procedural, they're unconscious. We have to catch ourselves doing them. Sometimes people will say to us, do you know that you always do X, Y or Z every time? No, I didn't know that. And when they start to make it conscious, then we can start to notice it. But if we want to change that, if all we're doing is fighting against ourselves, trying to push something that isn't naturally happening, then it's hard work. It takes a long time to make that thing procedural, second nature. The best way of trying to change things and make change is to have an acceptance for the way it is, to be able to notice it, accept it, and be able to be curious about it, be able to observe it, take all the judgment out of it. And from that place, it's much easier to take that acceptance and move it forward. Often when I first start talking about acceptance with people, I get a lot of resistance because what they hear is, so I have to accept that this is the way it is and nothing's ever going to change? Absolutely not. It just means accepting the way it is now, being able to see it for what it is, understand why it's been there, take the charge out of it, take the fight out of it, so that things can naturally evolve and grow, that there's space for these things to happen. When we're fighting against something, we're trying to shut something down. If it's something that's in our procedural way of doing things, that's really hard work, and we're going to end up, doing battle with ourselves, having a difficult relationship with ourselves because we do these things, feeling that we have to kind of hide it or apologise to people. When we can be accepting of it, it's so much easier. I spent years trying to learn my left from my right. On a really good, calm day, I can get it and I can get into a bit of a rhythm with it. But something can just knock it off and it's like, it goes. I used to try and hide the fact or try and make allowances for it, or I would let people know by way of apology. Now I can just let them know because I have complete acceptance of it. It's just one of my quirky things and I don't feel bad about it. I'm really open and honest about it. Please don't say right or left to me. If I'm on a tennis court, I either say stay or move, because you go right and left. I end up trying to process which one is it and get hit by a ball. I have acceptance of it. There's no charge with it. No one can shame me because of it, because there's nowhere to go with it. It's like, I completely accept that that is a quirk of mine. And I know a lot of people have it. I don't have to apologise for it. I don't have to make excuses for it. I've got complete acceptance. It also allows me to think of ways, if I really need to be able to do that, well then how can I help that? How can I help myself do that in a kinder way? Instead of, I'm going to fight against it and I'm going to really try and do it. that's not going to happen that way. And that for me is the same as it is for an awful lot of people. That fight, that need to push through and make things different and put those changes into place takes huge amounts of willpower and massive amounts of energy. If we can take that out of it, come to a place of acceptance, then it just makes it so much easier to move forward. There are so many more possibilities with it. We can be way more kinder, creative, imaginative about what we'd like to do. When we can get to that place of acceptance, if we do know where we want to be, if it's, I'm always really hard on myself, I always call myself stupid, then I can have acceptance of, yes, I've absorbed that from somewhere else, that's become my narrative. I don't believe it, but I can hear it and I can accept that that's a thing that always comes up. Oh, there's that thing again. There I am telling myself I'm stupid. Where do I want to be? I want to be really kind to myself. I want to be empathic and understanding, so we know where we're going. We might not be there yet, but knowing that that's the path that we're on, but we're going to get there through gentle acceptance. And when we can see these things start to change and move, and we're improving in the things that we want to improve, shifting the things we want to shift, then we have acceptance for ourselves in that place. Oh, I really thought I was stuck there, but I'm not. I'm here now. And it's just a way of coming at things with a much gentler, more loving energy, that we're not in battle with ourselves, we're trying to get a really good relationship with ourselves and some understanding of why these things have been there. We don't just do things to make our lives difficult. We don't have ways that we behave, ways that we react, ways that we think about things just to be awful to ourselves and to make our life difficult. It's been as a result of something that we've been through, or the way that our environment was when we grew up. So what we want to do is make a different pact with ourselves. I'm going to be kinder, I'm going to be more empathic and more accepting of the things that are there, so I can have some peace with it. And from that place of energy, there's just so many more places that can go. When we have really strong reactions to things that people do or say, it's often because that really hits a nerve with us, and we can be very reactive to it. We can be very dismissive or avoidant or critical of that aspect of ourselves, and so when we see it in someone else, it really goes off, and the reaction we have is way bigger than actually the thing that happened. When we can do something internally, when we can do it for ourselves, if we can have acceptance of that thing, that reaction that we have, recognising the impact that certain things have on us, when we can have some acceptance of that, then it makes it much easier to have acceptance for other people as well. To not be so reactive, to see what it is, put it in context, see it for what it really is, not as a thing that's impacting on us. That's just the way that person is right now. That's just the way that they react and respond and behave towards these things. It doesn't have to impact me. I can leave it with them and I can take the charge out of it and have acceptance. When we do that for ourselves, it just naturally becomes much easier on the outside, in a very similar way to when we can start observing what we're doing and what we're feeling and how we are in that moment, having acceptance of it. It really does allow the same thing to start happening for other people. To be more observing, for us not to feel caught up in this thing that's happening, but to be able to be curious. I wonder what that's about. I wonder why that is having such an impact on me. When we can do it in here internally, it just automatically transfers itself over. Just like things that are going on out here, the way that we react and respond to them, that goes on in here as well. But the good news about that is that if we can change our internal world, change the relationship we have to ourselves, it plays itself out in terms of our relationships, our interactions with people, and how we are with them. So hopefully, moving on, we can just all have a bit more acceptance for ourselves, a bit more acceptance for others, and just try and make everything within ourselves and with others a bit less of a battleground, a bit less stressy, a bit less putting negative energy into things that we don't need to. Acceptance has really good, positive energy. So let's hope there's more of that going forward. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do, give us a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel below. And I look forward to seeing you again really soon. Okay, bye.